Did Darwin plagiarize the core concepts of evolution? My comment. It is not unusual for atheists to hero worship Darwin as a deep original thinker who uniquely discovered evolution by random variations and natural selection. However, historical evidence indicates that there was nothing original to Darwin about change in species by random variations and natural selection. As we have discussed in other videos, random variations and natural selection can cause microevolution, small-scale changes inside a species or genus, but not mega-evolution, the atheist myth of single-cell to human evolution. The reason for the widespread unthinking acceptance of naturalistic mega-evolution in the West is because it is a metaphysical, atheist, state-sponsored doctrine that is enforced in the educational system, despite the fact that the scientific evidence does not support it. Quote, Darwin's writings on evolution used a mixture of scientific facts, faulty data, misinformation, plagiarized ideas, distortions of reality, and unbridled imagination to deceptively advance his anti-Christian agenda, which has wreaked such social, political, theological, and moral havoc in the world. Terry Mortenson, Ph.D. Quammen adds that Darwin also misstated the dating of his own excerpts in the Darwin-Wallace package, telling Wallace, Darwin's contemporary and co-discoverer of evolution by random variations and natural selection, that they'd been written in 1839. In fact, they'd been written in 1844 and 1857. Quammen, The Kiwi's Egg, Charles Darwin and Natural Selection, p. 168. Quote, a study by Professor Howard Gruber found by comparing the 1839 and 1845 accounts of his Beagle trip that Darwin altered the former account to imply that Darwin the creationist became Darwin the evolutionist, or at least was well on his way to becoming an evolutionist as early as 1839. Darwin altered his 1839 account by inserting new paragraphs and sections dealing with evolutionary ideas to give the impression that he originated the theory of evolution by natural selection while on his Beagle trip. Waller concluded that historical research has proven beyond doubt that the belief that humans represent the latest stage in the transmutation of unicellular organisms had been put forward by dozens of naturalists between 1800 and 1859. More specifically, the long-standing idea that Darwin invented the idea of evolution itself is entirely fictitious. John Waller, Fabulous Science, Fact and Fiction in the History of Scientific Discovery, New York, Oxford, 2002, p. 181. Jerry Bergman, The Dark Side of Charles Darwin, p. 140. Bowler noted that Darwin realized he must be very careful to minimize the materialistic aspects of his theory in any public pronouncement. Historians have known for over a century that Darwin borrowed the whole concept of natural selection from creationists before him, like Edward Blyth, and curiously didn't give them any credit, until he was forced to do so by complaining colleagues who knew. Anthropologist Lauren Isley wrote that Darwin appropriated the work of creationist Edward Blyth, a little-known British zoologist who wrote on natural selection and evolution in two papers published in 1835 and 1837. Isley L.C., Charles Darwin, Edward Blyth, and the Theory of Natural Selection, in Darwin and the Mysterious Mr. X, E.P. Dutton. New York, 1979, p. 50. Isley details similarities in phrasing, the use of rare words, and the choice of examples between Blyth's and Darwin's work. While Darwin quotes Blyth on a number of points, he doesn't reference Blyth's papers that directly discussed natural selection. Isley concluded that Blyth's and Darwin's evolution ideas were so similar that the main difference between Blyth and Darwin lies in the fact that one was a special creationist and the other was an evolutionist. Specifically, Isley showed that Blyth discussed in detail all Darwin's major ideas before Darwin, including natural and sexual selection, the importance of variation in selection, and the struggle for existence. Blyth interpreted these concepts as part of the inbuilt design of the creator to enable species to adapt to changing environments within certain limits, concluding they supported divine creationism. Bergman, Jerry, The Dark Side of Charles Darwin, pages 147 and 148, Master Books, Kindle edition. Conclusion. It is not unusual for atheists to hero worship Darwin as a deep original thinker who uniquely discovered evolution by random variations and natural selection. However, that is just another false atheist myth. Historical evidence indicates that there was nothing original to Darwin about change in species by random variations and natural selection. As we have discussed in other videos, random variations and natural selection can cause microevolution, small-scale changes inside a species or genus, but not mega-evolution, the atheist myth of single-cell to human evolution. The reason for the widespread, unthinking acceptance of naturalistic mega-evolution in the West is because it is a metaphysical, atheist, state-sponsored doctrine that is enforced in the educational system, despite the fact that the scientific evidence does not support it. Thanks to Gary Hitch for the quotes and text above. The conclusions are mine. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.